Hey everybody, nobody corrected us when we called this ginger, and even though we used like 5 different potential pronunciations, still nobody corrected us. So we're going to just go with ginger and occasionally call it ginger and whatever else we feel like. So this is ginger, Perennial. I know it's right off the bat, but that reminded me of the intro to songs for The Who, the Mongolian band. If you've seen their logo that comes up, but anyway, different, but reminded me.
This autumn feels like funeral to me, along a song of grief, and not for what has passed, but for what shall last.
Exhausted now, so tragic and so suicidal. Oh, spectacular tears will check you to self. Death blows are slowly crawling to the toes. As the last limb is falling off her head.
I'm here with her. I'm dressed with a few petals on my breast. We shared our creates and let the landscapes do the same. I love your warmth, but yet prefer to sleep and cold alone. We fix our eyes up to the sky to see a flight set us farewell.
Do we have to pause it? Can we just listen to this over and over again?
This
This is so cool.
this is a cool song. I really need to see her performing live to understand the transitions she's making from that scream to that singing voice that has just no distortion.
So crystal clear. Okay, I'm going to be honest. I'm struggling with understanding the lyrics. I should have pulled up the lyrics here. We do that sometimes. We don't always do that. Usually if it's an English song, we don't. But we should. We didn't. But my point is, I caught the line at the beginning which says, like, I'm grieving not for what was or what was lost or something like that, but for what remains. It's like, oh, man. That's an interesting concept.
Yeah, and it
Like
really
that's a thought to just sit with for a little bit.
it really strikes at the imagery that they've put so far. It's kind of like someone who was living in like a mining town during a mining area, but it looks like everything's just done.
Yeah, done. That's a good
Everything's
word.
stopped and done, but this person's
Still
still
there.
there. The candles are all so burned down, you see the wax lying underneath them, and you see everything's covered in dust. But she still takes the time to, like, do her hair nicely. She takes the tools and drags them out as
To
if
go dig her own grave.
maybe.
I think that's what it is.
And there's just it looks and feels like this. There's no way out. I'm just doing this.
But man,
And always will.
yeah, everybody here, all the instrumentalists, the singer, going from that spoken word part, like right into
Hard transition.
right into it. Boom! I was just like, yes! It just like sucked me right in, and just like the story pulls you in at the beginning, right? Mm-hmm. And the story, when I say the story, I don't just mean the words, right? But the whole setting. The whole setting just pulls you in. You're like, what is this place? Like, where am I? And then the music just like, it's being like you're kind of like walking up to a door. You're enticed to come look at this door, you know, at the top of the steps or something, and somebody just comes up and is just like, "Bah! This is Sparta!" You know, And that's what I feel. I feel like that just happened to me, but like, I'm just like, whoa! And then there's no leaving now. So
Here we go.
holy smokes.
To see a flight, said us farewell.
Where we see each other next time. So please, come back to celebrate.
Did you see that?
There is no fly to take a reach the point of no return. Now cry and then die. Tomorrow I will meet you with yourselves restored.
All right. Stark imagery change here, but
Yeah, that was amazing. Okay, so saying things like, "Today you've reached the point of no return." It's like cry and die. Like that's what you have left. And seeing them playing the guitar on the ground, seeing like the hands reaching up and playing like the snow on the instruments. It's not just like, okay, here's this scene and here's us sitting in a garage. It's so immersive. And we talk about this a lot. When musicians make their sets immersive, it sucks you in so much more than if they're just playing. Now, we get made recommendations all of the time. Hey, listen to this band, this band, this band. And when we go to look them up, it's mostly them like in a garage or in just like a studio playing. And yes, it's fun to listen to and they sound fantastic. And we do listen to a lot of those recommendations. But in terms of the actual immersion into the experience, they lack. But here, where you have this, just, again, it's not just like they put the drums and the instruments like there in the snow. They put the snow on the drums.
did you notice they froze all of the trees? There was frozen water on all the trees. Someone had to stand there and spray water with a hose onto those trees to cause that frozen effect. It's rare to see that in nature. It'll happen occasionally, but just frozen solid spikes out of these trees. And you see that, and it just gives you this image of just cold to the core.
Yes.
There's nothing warm happening here.
Numb.
Yes.
So I'm from Alaska. A lot of you guys know that. A lot of you don't. In Alaska, a lot of people haven't experienced minus 40, minus 50, minus 60. What's the coldest you've experienced?
Probably minus 10.
That's cute. Okay, so I've probably experienced like minus 70.
Oh, no thank you.
But when you go out and it's like minus 40, okay? Or I guess when you go out and it's 0 degrees, you take your glove off, your hand still feels warm.
Mm-hmm.
When it's minus 10, you take your glove off, your hand feels warm, but it starts to feel cold soon. When you go outside at minus 40 or colder, like minus 60, and you pull your glove off, you feel instantly chilled to the bone. And the way that they were able to take that imagery of being chilled to the bone in this, by surrounding everything in ice, even looking at her hands, she looks cold, right? She looks pale, right? And everything's frozen. It just pulls you in, and the loneliness of the house, right? It wasn't like all the bright lights everywhere. It was a couple candles, all burned all the way down, with just a comb. It's like somebody's left here. Somebody. Not somebody's. Not a family. Not children running around. Somebody is left here in this cold, dark, empty, numb realm. And this is just, my goodness. You guys, some of you who recommended Ginger or saw some of our other Ginger videos, you said it's a rabbit hole that it's going to be hard to get out of once we fall into. And I am glad that King Leonidas just kicked me right into that, because holy cow, this is really awesome. And I have not been disappointed once since experience. I think this is our third song we've done.
Yep.
Our third song, every single one of them has been top notch, top tier.
This one last thing I want to say is this transition from her digging to this scene where it looks like almost like the end of what was. It's kind of the image I get just on first feeling of it. But that transition where she's digging and then it just changes scenes. Her hands stayed there, but the scene changed and now her hands are just going along her dress.
That's a really good point, and that's very, oh man, that's artistry in the camera work and directing. Mm-hmm. Wow. Mm-hmm. Choreography.
tradition of mass destruction in the name of total reconstruction. My biggest source of confusion, the reason of decay and disillusion unto permanent dies. We found breathless paradise. No, we're not dead. No, we're not dead. Just enjoying coma.
From the ashes of my roots, the new me will rise to live again. This is poetry of youth. This is poetry of me and you.
So, I think I actually understood her screaming lyrics better than her
better than
lyrics.
Oh, really?
Maybe not better, but
I could
that's
understand
pretty poignant
them
there.
pretty well.
So this is poetry of youth, is that what it said? Something like that.
Poetry of something. I thought it was
Yeah.
poetry of love, but
Yeah, poetry. Yeah, but it's like it's born again type thing. Man, this is a song. This is one of those. We get these occasionally, where we get a music video, and I want to just sit and watch it like 5 times. This is one of those.
I loved the lyrics there during her singing portion, where she's singing, "We're not dead, we're not dead. We're just enjoying the coma."
Yeah.
So we're here under the ice. We found joy and peace here under the ice.
Which it goes back to that emptiness, that numbness. It's like you dig deep enough, and then it's just like, okay, I'm cool here. You know what I mean? Which is, I guess, it means your coping mechanism worked.
It makes me think of the Warning music video where the person is drowning
Choke?
the whole
Yeah.
time. Yeah, choke. They're drowning, and then all of a sudden it's like, no, I'm peaceful here. It's okay.
Yeah. What does it say? Comfortable in the... Finding comfort in the pain or something. I don't know. Anyway. There's a lot of songs like that. But this is really cool conceptually. I'm glad we stumbled on this. Did we stumble on this? No, you told
It
us
was
about
recommended
this.
to
Yeah,
us.
thank you for the recommendation. We didn't stumble on it.
This is poetry of me and you. From the ashes of my roots, the new me will rise to live again. This is poetry of youth.
The young me will rise to live again.
The poetry of youth. Yeah, you were right. It was youth.
This poetry of me and you.
What? Okay. I'm gonna go out on a limb here. I think that was the best ending of a music video I've ever seen. Like the best last 3 seconds.
It's so interesting because it paints this image in the beginning almost as if those are two different scenes taking place. Like it's the past her, and maybe we're going to get the rest of the story. But I think that's not what it was. I think kind of experiencing her headspace by the constant transitioning of her just digging, like you said, digging her own grave. And then the other side of her that's just enjoying the coma, that's just dancing. It's just having fun. But once the grave is dug, once the job is done, all that's left is to cry and die. She falls down. The scene changes. The hand sinks down. And that's the end.
That was so... I thought it was just going to end with her falling back.
I did too.
But when it didn't... Oh, man. That is the kind of unexpected treat that artists are able to give to people. You know, it's like you see something and you're like, okay, she's falling down, it's done. But then when they're like, no, it's not. Here you go. Now it's done. It's done when I say it's done. And that was, oh, man, that was awesome. That was that was so good.
They also did a phenomenal job with the camera work, where the camera work, other than the part of watching the drummer and the guitarist, right, that was pretty chaotic. Other than that, the camera work was slow. They were long scenes, relatively long, right? To the end, the scenes were portions of a second, just jumping back and forth between the nice dressed snowy scene and her digging in the ground and her hands and everything back and forth so fast. You could feel everything chaotically coming to a climax before the resolution in the end. And it was very well done with the choreography, the idea, taking the ideas, like you said, going the extra mile with the ideas, and also with the camera work. Just everything came together beautifully in that one. That was a good music video.
Yeah, and emotionally speaking, I mean, we can have that, right? Where it's like we're bouncing between these, when trying to find our balance, our harmony, we're bouncing between these, like, I'm just numb, to like, I just gotta die, dig my own grave and die, to like, well, maybe I can just dance a little bit. And then we cycle through all that, trying to just figure out where we stand. I get it, Ginger. And you get it. If you know, you know. Boom. Loved it. I loved it. These guys are awesome. You guys are awesome.